What's going on YouTube? It's your boy D-Ran, and we are here to recap the Colts versus Browns game in which the Colts fall to the Cleveland Browns 22-32. Now, this was an interesting matchup as these teams both came in here red hot. Both teams have won 3 games consecutive, and we were going to see a clash of the titans between the number 1 defense in the NFL at the time and the number 1 offense in the NFL at the time. I knew when I made my prediction that I felt something bad about this game. I wanted to pick Cleveland so bad, but I went with my heart and picked the Colts. I should have picked Cleveland. And we go into this game without Anthony Castonzo, without Darius Leonard, and it showed. The run game suffered, the pass blocking suffered, and it was not a good showing for the Colts, who needed a game together to put the offense together to really gain some momentum and rhythm against a Browns secondary that's been struggling. The Browns came in and completely dominated this game. I think the Colts touched the ball maybe twice in the first quarter. I mean, the Browns dominated time of possession with 34 minutes and 45 seconds to the Colts 25 minutes and 15 seconds. I mean, just completely taking over this game in total yards for 385. Total passing yards 261, and running the ball for 124 yards by committee with Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson. These guys were playing lights out today. Well, maybe towards the end, the running backs were really putting this game away, really eating clock, really picking up, yards that they needed to push this game and put it away. The Colts really could never catch rhythm on offense. With Phillip Rivers throwing, 2 picks this game? One of them was a pick 6. He was bad this game. He really missed Anthony Castonzo. Phillip Rivers had happy feet in the pocket. He's not a very mobile quarterback, and we all knew that, and the Colts knew that when they signed him, and he just never look like he was comfortable. Never really looked like he was comfortable. He was always rushing throws. He was always trying to step up and throw over the offensive line's head. I feel like everything that Phillip Rivers was never playing with any pace, any rhythm. I feel like he was rushed completely throughout this game. Jonathan Taylor, though, was a bright spot on this offense. 12 carries for 57 yards. He had 4.8 yards per carry. He was dominating, but he was seeing a lot of 8-man boxes, and I don't know why the Colts, for 4 weeks straight, have not deployed play action more in these 8-man boxes. The Colts have I don't know the numbers yet, but the Colts do not utilize play action to their advantage as much as they do. And teams are just going to continue to stack the box if you're just going to play into it and fall on the sense of pride on your offensive line to just go ahead and move teams. It's not really fair to the offensive line to put that much pressure on them, and it's not really conducive for your offense because you can never put together any rhythm, any drives. You run the ball on second down, every second down, and you can't get anything going on the offense. As far as the receivers went, T.Y. Hilton had a decent game. Marcus Johnson had a really good game. Ashton Doolin had that 1 catch for 34 yards. Troy Burton had a decent game. And then no Mo Alley-Cox. We didn't see any Mo Alley-Cox in this game. He had 1 target, 0 catches, 0 yards. We didn't see anything. The player's been the most explosive player on the offense. It's in Frank Reich's doghouse. I'm saying it right now. Mo Alley-Cox in Frank Reich's doghouse. He is not getting any targets, any plays called for him. Trey Burton's getting all the plays. And moving forward, I will not talk about Mo Alley-Cox until he is giving the opportunity, or he at least shows me more. Because he's not getting the opportunity. He's not getting targets. He's not getting thrown to. So why are we talking about Mo Alley-Cox? I'm just not going to talk about Mo Alley-Cox. If the coach won't throw to him, then what is the point? Trey Burton is getting all the catches. Trey Burton's been thrown to. Hell, I'm going to go ahead and just talk about Trey Burton all day now. Because that's the only person that is getting thrown to. That's the only person that's getting the ball thrown towards them. And that's the only person that's really being called upon. Now, on the Browns side, we have Baker Mayfield having an up and down game. In the first quarter, Baker Mayfield just comes out, guns a-blazing, ripping the Indianapolis Colts offense. He's throwing darts. He's throwing dimes. I mean, I was really impressed. I said, wow, Baker looks like the number 1 overall pick. He looks like the player that we have all been waiting for him to be. In the first half, he looked like that player. And then in the second half, he looked nothing like that player. He threw 2 picks. He just looked like he was rushing, and they just started handing the ball off to the running backs and just said, please carry us home. We have a 17-point lead. Just please take us home. They started giving the ball to the RBs and just mauling the Colts. And also, let's talk about the Browns offensive line. Wow. I'm here to tell you, as a Colts fan, as someone who watches the Colts, the Browns have the best offensive line in football, and it should be addressed appropriately. The Browns have the best offensive line in football. They were straight up bullying the Colts offensive line in the first half. The Colts didn't get any type of pressure until the second half, until they started stepping up more and started to push around the Browns offensive line just a little bit. But the Browns offensive line has the best offensive line in football. This season, not just respectfully, they have the best offensive line in football. They're moving guys. They're playing as a unit. And Wyatt Teller's just been playing amazing. They've all just had a really, really, really solid year. The Jarrett Willis pick is looking really good. As far as you can tell, this Browns offense, the sky's the ceiling. That these guys they just got to continue to be more consistent in finishing games, and they're going to be all right. The Browns have a really good team. Tip your hat to them. They played a really good game, and just move on to the next one for them. And really for the Colts, I don't really want to panic about Phillip Rivers' game, but he looked bad. He hasn't really looked that much great these past other couple games, but he looked bad. And I'll just chuck it up as a bad game where you don't have your left tackle, where you're getting pressure in your face. Myles Garrett just absolutely wrecked this game. He's just going crazy. The stats didn't do him any justice. Myles Garrett was everywhere. He was blowing plays up, blowing offenses up. He was just having his day and truly established himself as the defensive player of the year this year, in my opinion. Myles Garrett is having a defensive player of the year type year. He is playing great. He's playing excellent. He's living up to his bill as the number 1 pick, as he's always had. But this year, truly, I think he is really establishing himself in the ranks with the Khalil Macks, with the Aaron Donalds, with the J.J. Watts, with the Von Millers, with those edge rushers in those class. He is really, really establishing himself and inserting himself into that conversation. For the Colts, they move on to Cincinnati next week. I don't think you can read anything into that game. Really, you just want to put together a complete game. And what I would employ is that they try and get Phillip Rivers some rhythm. Try and get this offense in the rhythm. Really lay it on the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't care if the game's over by the third quarter. Really just keep trying to figure out what you can do and what works for this offense. This is a game where you're trying to get in a rhythm and get something together after the bye week, when you've got Detroit coming up in this second half of a brutal schedule where you have to at least try and get 4 wins to get to the playoffs. Because realistically, the Colts are going to be going into the bye week 4-2. All you have to try and really do, now I wouldn't say 4 wins, but 5 wins, try to get 9 wins to at least try and get yourself into the playoffs. Look at these second half games coming up. They've got Tennessee twice. They've got Green Bay. They've got Houston twice. That's not really a hard game. They've got the Raiders. They've got the Steelers. I mean, that's a pretty tough schedule after this bye week against the Bengals. They've got, so let's count it again. Ravens, Titans twice, the Packers, the Tennessee Titans. The Steelers. That's a tough schedule. I'm really getting tongue-tied here. But as far as everything, I wouldn't overreact to Phillip Rivers. I saw people calling for Jacoby Brissett on Twitter. That's not the way. Jacoby Brissett stinks. Jacoby Brissett is a backup. And as far as Jacob Eason, they're not really in that big of a hole to really start trying to look at the rookie and see what he's got yet. But if Phillip Rivers put more performances out there, I'll be going ahead and going to tell you, go ahead and put Jacob Eason out there and see what he's got. So that's really my take on the Colts-Browns recap. It's a tough loss. They're still 3-2. They still got a couple wins left on this schedule that I think they can win and at least try and get to that 10-6, 9-7 mark where I had them at the beginning of the season. I still think they've got a chance to make the playoffs and do something and at least make some noise. This year, it's really a year where you'll see where you're at. What are we doing moving forward? Do we want to continue with this Phillip Rivers thing, or do we want to go ahead and go into the rookie quarterback thing and figure out who's in the draft, figure out what we have in Jacob Eason, figure out what's next, because this is all the post-Andrew Luck era. This is the post-Andrew Luck era. It's just wait and see. It's blindfold, so we don't know what we're going into. But what we do know is the offense so far through these past 5 games have not looked good. They have not looked good. They've got to get it together, get some rhythm against Cincinnati. I'll have my preview for that game up later on tomorrow or today. I'm not really sure yet, but go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe down low. It really helps the channel, and peace.